In today's session, we'll be discussing parsing complex JSON response. Whatever the JSON responses which we have seen in all these examples, those are simple JSON responses. But in company, in real time, we'll not have simple JSON responses. We'll be having complex JSON responses. So what you need to do, you need to extract the data. You need to convert the data in a format that is easy to understand, right? So that is called as an parsing. So you need to work on how you can extract the data, convert the data from a complex JSON response, right? We'll see that. So first of all, what is meant by parsing? There is a meaning involved for this. Parsing means reading and converting the data that is easy to understand and use. That is easy to understand and use. Very important meaning it is. Parsing in the sense there is data in any source. You want to read that data and convert that data. Why you need to read? To perform some operation, to use that data, right? You need to convert the data so that is easy to understand and use. That is called as an parsing. Simply reading and converting the data, it is called as an parsing. Then what about JSON response parsing? JSON response parsing, right? So JSON response parsing is also nothing but reading the data, but where the data is in a JSON response, right? So I'm converting that to something Python can understand, right? So who will read the data, who needs the data, who consumes the data? Python will consume the data upon writing the code for further operations, right? So reading JSON response, reading JSON response and converting converting it into something Python can understand, right? So Python can understand in the sense, so JSON is somewhat similar to dictionary. So reading that JSON response and converting it into dictionary which can be understood by Python, it is called as an JSON response parsing. Parsing and JSON response parsing. So easy to understand and use. Here you are not a human. Here you are a Python. So Python needs to understand that. So to understand this JSON response will convert that to dictionary. Dictionary. Right? So this is nothing but JSON response parsing. So what I have done, I have created day6 directory. In the day6 directory, I have kept this complex.json. This is a response by some random API. What I have done, so I have captured that response. I have created a file complex.json. I have kept it here. So if you observe, this complex response consists of multiple things, right? So success, you have a data object. It is again this data object consists of user details. User details is one object. Recent orders is another object. Meta is another object. So again, each and every object consists of list of objects also. Phone numbers, if you take, it is having list of objects, right? So if you take geo, it is having an object, right? Preferences, object and list of objects, right? List of strings here. So complex JSON response, it is multiple data types, multiple things available in this complex JSON response, right? So whatever the responses which we have seen, those are very simple when you compare this. This is what a complex JSON response, where you need to deal with this data. Dealing in the sense, you need to read the data, you need to consume the data. So from this complex JSON response, so we'll be seeing that how you can consume. For that, I have created some simple test scenarios, right? User details validation, recent orders validation, preferences and metadata validation, right? So whatever the objects which you have in this results, right? Data object, user details, recent orders and meta. So on these objects, I'll perform these test scenarios, validate user details, verify the status field in the JSON response is a success. This is what an entire JSON response, whether this status key is having success as a value, you need to asset. Next, right? So you need to validate the ID and email fields of the user. This is what a user details which is there in the data object. You need to capture this ID, name and email, right? So you need to validate. Confirm the first phone number is of type home, right? First phone number. So this is what a first phone number. In this phone numbers array, this array consists of list of objects. First object consists of a number, phone number of type home. This is what your validation. If you wanted to do validation, if you wanted to confirm, definitely you need to extract the data. You need to read the data. That is what the pain area here, right? So similarly, geo coordinates of the user's address are latitude and longitudes, so and so values, right? So geo coordinates. So latitude and longitude. So you need to extract and you need to compare, right? So validate that the user has enabled notifications and is using the dark theme, right? So they are talking about notifications. So notifications is a key in preferences object and it is having a theme as dark. You need to extract and you need to validate, right? So this is what a complex JSON response for user details. Similarly, for recent orders also you have verify the total number of orders is 2, right? If you go to recent orders, so this is what a list of objects, right? List of objects it is. So this is one order and this is another order. So total 2 orders you have or not. This is what you want to confirm. You want to validate. So validate the order ID of the first order is 101, right? So 101 it is first order ID. You need to extract and you need to confirm. You need to verify. Confirm the same name of the second item in the first order is mouse, right? So this is what in first order, right? So this is what in first order. Name of second item is mouse, right? You need to extract from order, right? From order ID, from first order ID, I need to extract this second item object consists of a name. Name is mouse or not. I need to verify. Check the second order has only one item smartphone, right? Observe here how complex these validations are. In the second order, you have only one item, right? That is what this another validation and the price is so and so value. Is it right? So this is what a value of this product of this item, right? So when you talk about meta preferences and meta validation preferences, right? So we can also see here, yes, preferences. So you need to validate these preferences. Verify the user speaks 3 languages: English, Spanish, and French, right? So you have preferences. In the preferences, you have these languages: English, Spanish, French. You need to extract the key value which is in preferences object. Then you need to do validation. Next, confirm the request ID is ABC123XYZ and response time so and so milliseconds in metadata, right? So go to metadata. So they are expecting us to extract this, to read this response time in milliseconds, request ID, right? And do validation. So from this complex JSON response, you need to do these validations. If you understood this, then it is very easy to do validations upon reading the data, right? So what I have done, I have captured this data from the response of an API. right? So once you understood this, you can take this API, random user API. This is also a very complex response. From this complex response, you want to read the data, you want to do some validations. If you understand this simple example, looking like it is simple, but it is very complex JSON response, then you can work on this type of responses also, which an API can give. In companies, you'll see this type of complex response only, right? So this is what an API, right? So let me go to this Postman. So this is a publicly available API which will generate a random users. I'll try to create a request, right? A simple request. I'll try to create collection random user API, right? So I'll try to create a request in this. So get request, it is a random user. So I'll only fetch the details. This is publicly available API. So I have just taken this to make you understand how the complex JSON response looks like. So click on send. Now observe here, it is giving me this entire results, whatever you see in the browser. Right? You need to perform validations by capturing each and every key or an object, right? So based on the requirement. So here I have taken this. Try to understand this very carefully. So what I'll be doing based on these test scenarios, I'll be writing validations upon reading the data. So I have created this complex JSON. So I need to read the data. I need to pass the data across test methods, multiple test methods, which I'm going to do validation. Right? Observe here, step by step, you need to understand. I'll be creating a Python file as per the naming convention, test underscore parse complex JSON response, right? Complex JSON response. So I'll be keeping this side by side, right? So that you can understand this very clearly. So what I'll be doing, I'll be importing JSON, I'll be importing PyTest, right? I'll create a fixture function. Why? I'll create a class, I'll create test methods. Those test methods are nothing but validations. But to do validations, I need to extract the data. Once I extract the data, I need to use across all the test methods. So in one single shot, I'll try to extract entire data by using a fixture function, right? Define load JSON fixture. Load a JSON fixture it is. So since it is a function, I'll use this open and close parenthesis. Now I'll try to open this complex.json file. So this is a file. I need to open this file. Then only I can read the data. So how you can read the data by using with the context manager open with open where the file is available in the same directory where I kept this module. Same directory day 6. So same directory is nothing but current working directory. So to get that current working directory, you can put a dot. Dot in the sense current working directory. In the current working directory, you have complex.json. Complex.json. Good. I will open this in the read mode. Why? I'm not writing any data, rather I'm only reading the data in this file to do validations as per the test scenarios. I'll give a name for this object as file. Good. So I'll load the file, which is a JSON file. How you can load by using JSON.load function. So you need to specify that JSON file. So it will give me JSON response, right? So whatever the JSON response which it is having, that I'm loading and I'm storing inside some variable JSON response, right? JSON response it is, right? Very good. Up to here it is fine. Main important thing it is, in the current working directory, you have this complex.json. So I have captured this very clearly. Let's suppose I have another directory. I'll delete this another time. So day 7, in day 7, I have this complex.json. Okay, in day 7 also, I have this complex.json. But I want this file instead of the file in the day 6. So what you can do, you need to go to this parent directory, Then you need to come to day 7. There are lot of ways to do this. Very simple approach is, instead of keeping single dot, put a double dot. Put a double dot, that's it. So when you put a double dot, so it will go to parent of the current working directory. When you put single dot, it will go to current working directory. That means single dot means current working directory. If you want the parent of current working directory, double dot. Double dot parent. Parent consists of day 7. So specify the location. Day 7 slash complex.json. That's it. You can also do in this way, right? You can also do in this way. Wherever the file is located, you need to get the file. You should not hard code the location. Am I hard coding? Hard coding in the sense, right click on the file, click on path or reference. So copy absolute path. So this is what an absolute path, full path it is. Once you develop the code in local machine today, you'll push the code to remote machine. In that remote machine, you will not be having this user and username. So your code will not be working. So this is what hard coding. I'm not hard coding. I'm dynamically capturing with this. You can use OS also, OS operating system library also, module also. But here it is very, very simple, right? So I'll try to keep that with the day 6 only. Inside day 6, I have this complex.json. I'll just delete this day 7 also. Good. So this is what a fixture function. So at the rate PyTest dot fixture, I'll use scope as function only, or you can use class also, right? I'll try to use this as auto use. So I no need to pass this fixture function as an input to test function. So I'm using this auto use fixture. Good. I'll create a class. I'll use this JSON response across each and every test method. So class test parse complex JSON response. Complex JSON response. Right? It is a class. Class consists of test methods. So test user details validation. User details validation. This is what a method. Similarly, I have multiple test methods also based on this test tasks and test scenarios. User details validation, recent orders validation, preferences and metadata validation. Right? I'll create another method which is like the above method. Right? So like this, I also have preferences and metadata validation. So multiple methods. I'll just comment these two at this point of time. I'll try to work on this test user details validation. Good. First thing, what is the validation? You need to do whether this status field is having success as a value or not. Is it right? This is what a complex JSON response. I'm already reading the data and storing inside this variable. From this variable, I need to extract this status. Then I need to check, I need to assert whether this is equal to this status or not. Right? So observe here how you can do that. So verify status. Verify status. So you will use assert, right? So assert, I can get this JSON response, right? So in this JSON response, which is like a dictionary, right? So key and value, this is like a dictionary, is it right? So when you try to read the data, when you try to pass the data using Python, this is a dictionary, right? Dictionary consists of key and value pair. So how you can get the key value? By specifying the key name inside this square braces, or you can also use get method, right? So JSON response of status. And what is the value it should be? It should be success. This is what you are expecting. First validation it is. If it is not, so wrong status code. Assertion message you can specify, right? So some simple validation, verify status, first validation, good. But observe here, I have already defined this JSON response in a fixture function. right? But why, when I access that JSON response variable, it is raising some error here? So unresolved reference JSON response. The reason is when you are opening the file with the context manager, reading the file you are doing. After performing this operation, you need to specify close. This file which is opened for doing this operation will be closed automatically. So you are not able to access this JSON response outside of this fixture function, and that too it is not a global variable also, because you are using inside this with statement, right? If it is a global variable, I need to define global keyword. That is also you can do. Let me tell you another approach, right? Where I am using this fixture function for each and every test method inside this class. So to have the variable inside this fixture function across each and every test method, you need to configure in such a way this fixture function should have request, not requests. It is a request. Request is used to read command line options. When you are discussing Selenium Python, we learned this. Request is used to read command line options. With the help of this request, there is another advantage also. What is that? You can try to make the variable as a class variable. You can try to make the variable as a class variable. Why? This fixture function is used across each and every test method. Inside test method, I want this variable. If you want to have the variable inside a class, definitely it should be a class variable, or it should be an instance variable, or it should be a local variable which is for a specific method. But here this JSON response is not in all these three categories: class, instance, and local. What you need to do, you need to make this as a class variable. How you can make, how it is possible by using this request PyTest special fixture object. Request is PyTest special fixture object. So in the request, you have CLS, request dot request dot request dot CLS dot. That's it. Request dot CLS dot. That's it. So what it will do, when you execute this test method, fixture function will be invoked automatically. Why? The scope is fixture, right? So scope is function. Function means test method. Before executing this test method, this fixture function will be called, and the data which is loaded from this file will be stored in this variable. This variable is a class variable. That's what you are making this. This variable is a class variable. Now you can access this inside every test method. You are making, but previously it is not a class variable. Right? That's what I'm making. So observe here, JSON response of status success, right? Yes, it is failing. Why? What is the reason? Name JSON response is not defined. So it is already defined. Let us see what is the issue here. The issue here is you are making this as a class variable, right? If it is a class variable, how you can access? With the help of class name or with the help of self. When we discuss class and object, we have learned this very clearly. This is a class variable JSON response. If it is a class variable or if it is an instance variable also, you need to follow some notations. What is that? To access that, you need to use a self. If it is instance variable, if it is class variable. If it is class variable, other way of accessing this class variable is by using class name. So I'll go for self. Self dot, that's it. Self dot JSON response. Now you can access entire data stored in this variable, and you can extract the key, and you can check whether it is equal to success. Let us execute this. Very important information it is. You are making this as a class variable, right? A JSON response by using this request special fixture object, PyTest fixture object. If it is a class variable, there are two ways to access that. One is by using class name or by using self. I'm using this self.json response of a status, getting the key and checking that value. Suppose if I wanted to make this as only one yes instead of double s for success, I'm executing this. It will fail. It will raise an assertion. What is that? So wrong status code. Wanted to making it fail, right? So that means it is getting the data. It is doing some validation. Right? Doing validation is very, very important. Extracting the data is another important thing. So this is very simple. Status key you are extracting and doing the success. Right? What is another user details validation? Verify or validate the ID, name, email fields of the user. Right? So validate user details. This is another important validation. Validate user details. Right? So observe here, guys. So tell me, in the entire JSON response, you're capturing this entire uh, JSON response where you're capturing this entire JSON response. All right. My expectation is I want to do this user details validation. This user details, which is there in this data object. First, you need to capture this data object. Next, user details. Next, ID, name, and email you need to extract. Is it right? From data, user details, ID, name, and email, I need to extract. So what I'll be doing, I'll be defining a simple variable, user details. User details. So I need to extract user details. That means in this JSON response, right? So I have this JSON response. This JSON response is having data, right? So in the data, you have this user details, right? I'll capture this user details. That's it. User details. Observe here how I am reading the data from different keys I'm navigating, right? So data is a key, but it is objects, right? So data is what, an object. This object consists of again multiple objects, total 3 objects. So data consists of user details. Yes, I can capture every user detail, but I don't want everything. I want to only ID, name, and email fields, right? You need to extract them. So how you can extract? So can I use the same user details variable which I'm storing, which I'm here right now, user details? From this user details, can I extract ID? Can I extract name? Can I extract email? Yes, it is possible. So user details of ID, right? It will extract the value of this ID key. You need to validate whether it is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Validation is very simple, but extracting the data is a pain area here. So assert user details of ID, right? So user details, you need to follow proper indentation here, user details of ID. So if it is not wrong user ID, right? So wrong user ID, some simple message you can have like this user details, right? Assert user details of name. They are also expecting name. So what is the name? Name is John Doe. If it is not, some simple assertion, error message, wrong name. Keeping it as simple as possible, right? So double equal to, right? Content comparison, extracting the value to the comparison. Next is email fields, right? So email field. So extract that email by using this email as a key name. Email, and it should be johndoe.example. Is it right? So otherwise, it is a wrong email. Is it right? Yes. Validate user details it is. So let us execute this. Extracting the data and doing this validation, right? Doing this assertions. Main pain area, again I'm repeating multiple times. Extracting the data, observe here. First to capture entire JSON response, which is there inside this file. Again, from there, you are getting the status, which is very easy, very simple. But you want to capture this ID, name, and email. If I am capturing up to details, I can extract this. How I am capturing from the data, I'm navigating to user details. Then I'm getting this ID, name, and email. Right. So next, another validation. Confirm the first phone number is of type home and the value 123456-7890. Is it right? So what they are expecting, you have two phone numbers. In this phone numbers array, list of objects it is. List of objects. Phone numbers is what, an array or list. Array of objects or list of objects. So two objects you have. My requirement is I want to validate first phone number is of type home. First phone number it is. First object is first phone number is of type home. Right? And the value is this value. This is what your expectation. So you need to extract that. So validate home phone number. Validate home phone number. Right? So how you can do that? So since you already captured this user details in user details variable, I'll be using that. Right? In the user details, you have phone numbers. Right? Phone numbers is what a list. To extract the first element in a list, you can go for indexing. Is it right? So user details of phone numbers. Is it right? Like email, I'm also capturing this phone numbers. But phone numbers is what a list. I only want first element related phone numbers, right? So can I go for indexing? Yes, you can go for indexing like this. User details of phone numbers of 0. Right? So what it will return me? Home related phone. Is it right? So I'll store it in some variable. Home related phone. I'm using variables wherever it is required so that I can reuse the values of those variables. Now I need to check whether this number is this and the type of this phone number is home. Right? So how you can extract? So assert home phone of type. If the type is equal to home, otherwise wrong info, right? Wrong information or wrong type it is. Similarly, assert home phone of number. You're extracting that number equal to this. If it is not, then it is wrong number. Some simple assertion messages I'm writing it here. I'm not making it very complex. Right? So let us try to write few more important assertions also. Verify geo coordinates of the user's address, latitude, and longitude also, right? So geo coordinates also they're expecting. So those geo coordinates are there in this address. Like this phone number, you need to capture this address. From this address, I need to capture this geo object. This geo object consists of latitude and longitude. I need to extract both and I need to do validation. Observe here how I am navigating to each and every key in this complex JSON response. That what the matters, right? So validate geo coordinates, right? So validate geo coordinates, right? So how you can validate? First, from user details which you captured up to here, user details, capture this address next geo. Right? So how you can capture, since these are like dictionaries, I can go for this capturing the values of a specific key by using this square braces, or you can also use get. I'm not going to that. It is very simple, right? So user details of address. I have this address. Address again consists of another dictionary which is looking like a dictionary, which is geo. Get that geo. That's it. So which is geo, right? I'll store it in some variable which is geo. So I'll use assert. So assert geo of latitude, right? So it is equal to this value or not. You are doing some simple assertion. Similarly, assert geo of longitude. get the value of this key longitude. If it is equal to this value or not, do some simple assertion, right? If it is failed, you can raise this assertion error with this message, right? So wrong latitude, right? This is what a cleaner code it is. Wrong longitude, right? So wrong longitude it is. Good. So let us see few more validations also. Validate that the user has enabled notifications and is using dark theme, right? It is there in the preferences. Is it right? So if you go to preferences, in the preferences, you have this notifications, right? And theme key and languages also, right? So we'll try to do this validations, right? Validate preferences, validate preferences, right? You need to capture these preferences. So directly from user details, can I capture? Yes. So I'll try to use this. So instead of address geo, so I'll try to specify preferences directly. Preferences. So it will capture these preferences, right? So I'll store it in some variable. Preferences is what a variable. I'll do assertions. Assert preferences of, so notifications is what a key. I need to get the value of the key. I need to check whether it is equal to true or not, right? So true or not, some simple validation. So here in the JSON response, you are having this a true, but in Python, you are not having this as true, right? So what you can do, you can go for uh, is operator, is special step operator, is special operator. So is true instead of this small true. I'll go for this is true. It will check the presence whether it is having this true or not, because in Python you don't have this true, right? So since you are converting, you need to be very careful. So at the time of specifying this boolean value, if it is not expected notifications to be true, right? So this is what a message at the time of raising an error. If this is not met, you can do, right? You can also extract this theme, preferences of theme. It is equal to dark, else wrong theme, right? Some simple assertion you can do, right? So theme mismatch also, it is absolutely fine. So let us execute this. Only these are user details validations, right? So all assertions are passed in the sense you are extracting the data and you are trying to compare the data. The main pain area here is not about comparing, but how you extract the data. First I captured all the JSON response in some variable. Next captured user details. You can see gone to data object. Then from the data I captured this user details. Similarly, suppose if I want recent orders, where this recent orders in this data only, I need to capture this recent orders array, right? Array of orders, right? So order one you have, order two you have. So in the order ID 101, you have again two items. In the order 102, you have again one item only. So I need to do this validations, right? So let us see those validations also. Recent orders validation, right? Recent orders validation. So observe here. So first thing, verify the total number of orders is 2. Total number of orders, right? So how you can get those orders which are there in the recent orders array. This array consists of two objects, right? This is one object and this is another object, right? So order ID 101 is one object, order ID 102 is another object, right? So you can try to capture this recent orders, get the count of elements inside this list. That's it. It will give you this simple assertion, validate total number of orders is 2. So how you can do that? I have already created a method. Let us see. Very important session it is. right? First thing, I need to capture this recent orders, right? Like how I captured this user details. I will capture this recent orders, right? Instead of user details, recent orders, recent orders, right? So in the data, you have this recent orders. That's it. It will return me this array. Array again consists of two items, right? Can I apply length function on this? Yes, you can apply. So verify total number of orders, right? So can I use asset length of recent orders? Why? Recent orders is what a list of objects, array of objects. On this list, can I apply length function? Yes. What is your expectation? It should be 2, right? So can I have this double equal to 2, which this value must be equal to this, right? Otherwise, if you are having more, right, if this condition is not met, so expected only 2 orders. That's it. Some simple assertion error message you can specify. Good. Next, validate the order ID of the first order is 101. First order you are expecting, right? First order. So can I use recent orders of 0? Can it will return me the first item, first order ID? If I specify 1, it will return me second order ID related details. So can I do that? Yes. So what I'll do, validate first order details, right? First order details. So I'll try to capture this first order equal to recent orders of 0. First order it is. It will return me the element, right? First element, first object of 0. Good. So in this first order, you have this order ID key. You need to extract that. So asset first order of order ID, order ID, right? Order ID equal to 101. This is what your expectation, right? So otherwise, order mismatch, right? Some simple assertion message, right? So along with this, they're also expecting total amount in the first order is 1226.49. Can I expand this? Yes. So observe here, order ID 101 and total amount. You have the total amount. So like the same thing, how I extracted order ID, I'll try to extract this total amount. The total amount is 1226.49, right? If it is mismatching, total amount mismatch, right? So another validation here, first order details validation. Good. And another validation is confirm the name of second item in the first order is mouse. Very important thing it is. Complex JSON response, you need to extract the second item, first order is mouse. So in the first order, so this is what in first order, right? This is what in first order, not the second order I'm talking about. So first order is 101, right? So this first order having 2 items, where it is available in the items array, items object, right? In the items object, I have 2 elements. Is it right? So they are expecting second item name in the first order, it should be mouse. Second item is this. Second element in this items array. This second item will have the name mouse or not. This is what their expectation. Right? So how beautifully they are framing the question. Right? They are asking. In this way also you need to write the validations. Step by step validations you need to do. Right? So validate first order details. First order is having items. You need to capture items. Right? So what I will do, I'll try to capture items. right? So items recent orders of 0, which is first order. First order is having items, specify items here. That's it. Now this items is having second item. This is a list. List consists of two elements. Second element name they are expecting, it should be mouse, right? So I'll try to capture that. So items, right? So items, can I specify one of name? Why? This is list. First element in the list is having 0 as index number. Next element, second element is having 1 as an index number. So one of name, I'll capture this name. So items of name. So you are expecting it should be mouse, right? So item name mismatch. You need to assert that, right? You need to assert that. So how important it is? First going to items, next going to another object, second object in this array, next getting the name. How you are trying to parse this, how you are trying to do the validation is what an important point here. Good. So let us execute this up to here. Good. So all assertions are passed. In the sense, I'm able to extract the value. It can be a specific key, or it can be multiple keys also if it is required. So you can try to specify those keys, order IDs, right? So total item, right? So another validation here is check that the second order has only one item. Second order, right? This is what in first order, second order. So second order in the sense, what you do, you'll try to capture that second order, right? I'll capture that. So validate second order details. Second order details. Second order details. So recent orders of 1 it is, because second element is having 1 as an index number. Right. In the second order, it will capture this order ID. This order ID is having items. So you need to capture these items. Items is what an array. Array consists of only one item. Is it right? So assert second order of items. Right? So you need to get the count, length of second order of items. It must be equal to 1. That is what your expectation. Only one item you are expecting, not more than that. Right? So otherwise, items count mismatch. Right? So this is what an assertion which you are trying to perform here. Has only one item, a smartphone with a price. Right? So you need to extract that item name also and the price also. Can I do that? Yes, you can do that. Let's observe here, assert second order of items. Second order of items. Good. Second order items is having name key. Get that name key value. Check whether it is equal to smartphone. Right? Smartphone it is. Otherwise, item name mismatch. Right? Item name mismatch. Similarly, they're also expecting to extract this price also, right? Price, it should be 799.99. So what I'll do, instead of name, I'll extract this price, right? And it should be 799.99, right? That's it. So otherwise, price mismatch, price mismatch. So let us execute this. So it is failing. Why? It should not be a string, but it should be an integer. Should be an integer. So let us execute this one more time. Still, it is failing. Let us see. second order of items of price, right? So list indices must be integers or slices, not string, right? Second order, it should be 0, right? Yes, it should be 0. Second order, you are extracting the second order, which is recent orders of 1. Good. You are extracting this second order. Length of second order, this is a second order. You are capturing this items. Items, if it is equal to 1 or not, you are expecting this, right? Items of name, here it is failing, right? As a smartphone, items name is mismatching. So here second order of items, right? So unnamed. So what I will do, I'll try to even modify this. It is not expecting that. Second order items, right? So I'll try to store it in this variable. I'll try to refer that. That's it. Let us execute this one more time. Still it is failing. So list instances must be integers or slices, not string. So observe here, the issue is I'm extracting second order items. The second order items is what? A list. Is it right? List consists of multiple elements, or it can be single element also. Here in this case, it is an object. So first object index number is 0. That's what I missed. That's it. If you specify that, it will only extract this first object. That's it. There is no doubt at all. So here the issue is. Let us try to execute this one more time. Now you can see it is passed. So here the main important thing is you need to extract the first item in this items array. Second order is having only one item. That one item also they represented in the form of a list. List first object is having 0 as an index number. That's what I specified. If we did not specify this, you'll raise an issue, right? So it will raise an issue, right? Second order items of name and price I'm expecting, right? So this is recent orders validation. Like this, we'll also see one more validation, preferences and metadata validation, right? So preferences, in the preferences you have these are 3 languages: English, Spanish, and French, right? So validate preferences. Validate preferences. So in the preferences, you have languages, right? So what we will do, first we need to capture these preferences. Where I have these preferences inside this user details only, right? Yes. So what I will do, I'll try to take this user details. I'll try to modify this. Right, self.json response, you have data, user details. In the user details, I have preferences, right? I'll capture these preferences. So here it is preferences, right? So self.join to be having proper indentation, otherwise it will raise an error. So preferences it is. In the preferences, you have languages. Preferences is what an object, languages is what a list, right? So we need to capture these languages. So what I will do, I'll capture languages equal to preferences of languages, right? Preferences of languages, right? So it will return me a list of languages. I'll check whether I have 3 languages or not first. So asset length of languages, length of languages. So equal to 3. It must be 3. And other thing is, I'll try to check whether user speaks all the 3 languages or not. So can I do one simple check here? What I would, I'll only extract this English, Spanish, and French. I'll not use for loop. I'll go for indexing. Languages of 0 in English, languages of 1 Spanish, languages of 2 it is French. So I'll go for that. So assert languages of 0, it must be equal to English. That is what their expectation, right? Similarly, second element I'll extract, third element I'll extract. So languages of 1, languages of 2. It must be Spanish and French. That is what their expectation. How you are extracting, that is what the beauty here, right? So that's it. So let us execute this, which is there in this metadata validation. So I'll try to keep this in metadata. Test method. Right, so metadata, validate preferences and languages. Right, let us execute this. Right, it is passed. That means all the assertions are passed. It is able to extract all the languages in the languages key, which is an array, getting the count, checking each and every language is equal to English, Spanish, and French as per their requirement. You can also use membership operators. You can even modify this. You can do that. So I'll also validate this metadata, request ID and response time, where they are in this metadata, right? So I need to capture this metadata first. In the JSON response, like data, you have metadata, right? Validate metadata, right? So observe here how I'll be getting that. Like data, you have metadata, right? So meta, that's it, right? So I'll try to store it in some variable metadata. Right, in this metadata, you have this timestamp, response time, and request ID. This is very easy. You can specify the key name and you can get the value, right? So asset metadata of first thing they're expecting is request ID. Request ID, I'll get the value of this. I'll check whether it's equal to this or not. ABC 123 XYZ. They are expecting that. And response time, milliseconds also, right? Asset metadata of response time milliseconds. Respecting how much? So 300 it should be. 300 it should be, right? So 300. But observe here, it is a 250, right? It is 250. So I'll remove this quotes also because I'll keep this as an integer. So here they have specified integer. Here also I'm specifying integer, but the values are not matching, right? So here it is 300 they're expecting, and in the JSON response you have this 250. So what I will do, I'll try to execute this. When I execute this, it will fail. So at the time of failing, I'll have this message also. Response time mismatch. Only this assertion will fail. Expected and actual values of this response time are not matching, right? So let us execute this. Only this assertion will fail. Yes, one failed. It is expected. You can see this is what an assertion error. So response time mismatch. So let us execute this all these test methods at a class level. So two passed. Two test methods will pass. One will fail because of that assertion error. So this is how you need to parse entire JSON response. I kept it in this file. I'm reading that. So instead of this, what you can do, you can try to store it in some variable, right? You can see here random user API I have taken. So when I try to hit this API, it will give me this response. This response, what I have done, I have stored inside some variable. Response equal to request dot get self dot API URL. Checking the status code, storing the response. In the response, you have users, lot of users. You're capturing each and every user, right? Results. You have this total users expectation, right? Test user names exist, nested coordinates. You have here. So observe here, nested coordinates. These are you're capturing this entire response in some variable, getting the values of specific keys and doing some assertion. This is how you need to do, right? So for capturing these simple paths also, he can use some tool. Let me go here. So you can see JSON path finder, site 24/7. You can try to paste that here, right? So what you can do, you can just click on this, right? So click on gender, click on location. It will give you this path. You can use dot notation. You can use bracket also. We have seen this very clearly when we discuss this simple concept, which is that so response validations, all right? So in that session, we have seen this, how you can use these tools also. You can also validate JSON path validator. So a lot of things based on that you can capture. Let's suppose you can see here, copying this entire complex response, coming here, just using this. So you can see, suppose if I want this validation, let's suppose you can see what is the complex thing here. It is geo, right? So I want this latitude and longitude. So what I can do, I can see where it is, click on that latitude. That's it. So it is giving me details or not. So this is giving me this path or not for extracting that data. Have I used that? So observe here. First, I captured user details. Data user details. Is it right? Data user details. Next, address geo. Have I gone to that? Address geo. Next geo. After that, latitude. Is it right? How beautifully it is able to give that. You can use these tools to make the life very easy. Similarly, longitude also, right? So you can see here, instead of having this manual effort also, you can try to use this online tools. You can have this dot notation also, right? So which we have learned, right? So you can have this bracket notation also. Bracket notation is like a dictionary. Dot notation is like you can parse, which is like a JSON path, right? You can go for bracket, you can go for dot, anything is. So if it is bracket, you need to use this simple JSON path library, which we have already installed in this requirements.txt JSON path. Have we installed that? So which is like a JSON path parser. So which is having a function which is parse function. If you go for this dot notation, you have this dots, is it right? So accordingly, you need to parse that. So how you can parse? A simple code it is. So you can use this parse results dot name dot last. So this is what a dot notation, guys. This path should be validated on this JSON response and it will capture all the matches by using this find. You can store it in some variable. You can do some assertions also. You take this as an assignment. If you feel this is very difficult using dot notation, go for this bracket notation. Bracket notation is very simple because you are dealing with the dictionary, right? You know how to work with the dictionary. Then you can try to go for this bracket notation. Key you will specify, you will get the value and you will do assertions, right? This is how you can parse this complex JSON response.